Do you remember when, I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember this, but our mothers used to take the belt and say, huélelo.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck is that about? ¿Huele qué? Se calla la boca. Mommy, I'm going to scream. I know some guys who would be put on the floor on guayos. Check this out. On guayos. The guayos were on rice. You fell off the guayo, hit the rice. Then you kneel down with two Bibles in the hand, and then she hits you. Ridiculous. And I used to tell my mother, I used to tell my mother, Mommy, how could you love Jesus that much and hate me this much?
She did something right.
She did. There were some things that were dysfunctional, though, and I want to read about that. And so it ended, just like that. She turned her back to me all night, recoiled from my touch, not angry, not jumpy, just slithered away in the bed, away from my heat. I've never been very European about that sort of thing. I'm spoiled and demand, and I whine. And headaches and cramps, which are now hourly, have never struck me as being excuses for not embracing. It's rejection to me, cold, pure, and simple. In turn, I get angry and scream, get the hell out, shit like that. It ain't too gentlemanly, especially when the paranoia sets into suspicion, the doubt's like, if she's not into me, who is she into? It's a pattern of mine. I demand unconditional love, push people, especially women, to the brink. I stand on the corner of their patience and limits and scream, oh yeah, well put up or shut up. Now that I've hurt you, pierced your pride, disrespected your being, lowered your self-esteem, tell the world, do you still love me? Do you like what I'm doing to you? Say it. Scream it. Kind of sick, ain't it? Finally, when the person lets go exasperated, defeated, or when for fear of being let go first, abandoned, I do the abandoning. It is I who feel sorry and betrayed. I cry to anyone who will listen. You see, you can't trust any of them. They're all two-faced phonies and hypocrites, and never do I add that I pushed the bitch to the precipice and she had the good sense not to jump. Anyway, it started with my mother's merciless beatings, weekly rituals of torture, accusations, blood, tears, and orgiastic anger over a husband she loved and lost because of her mother, who didn't trust men, though she had 4 deep-down love affairs and 8 kids between all of them, because my mother was brought up to dominate and control her house since the world was too strong, too white, too intelligent, so she raped me. Violated my dreams and whipped the self-esteem, the beauty of childhood, awe and innocence to within a millimeter of life. The broomstick, the ironing cord on a wet 5-year-old body, right after a bath, right after she promised not to hurt me and said so with Pentecostal conviction. The belt whose buckle she would aim at my head or genitals, I hated her. And sometimes I still do. And I've hated myself for so long, I only now know why I sabotaged every career move, every bit of confidence people had in me, every scintilla of respect. I know I'm not worthy. My mother told me so. She beat it into me. Report cards with 95s meant nothing. Why didn't you get 100, she sneered. Awards, prizes, class certificates, plaques, salaries, honor meant nothing. Report cards with 95s meant nothing. They were all worldly and had nothing to do with God. I'd rather you be a Frankfurter salesman, she'd yell between lashes at my balls, than be famous and unsaved. So I learned to do the ungodly, to hate myself, to love everyone else but me and mine, to give my life for the cause, for the church, for the people, but to destroy any ounce of comfort or credibility in myself, because that's God's way, you see. That's the way it was handed down to me, Pentecostal style. So I learned to hate women, despise them. I learned to build myself up and systematically tear myself down and blame everyone else, the wife, the lover, the friend, the devil, the system. And now, scarred, wounded, addicted, and scared, I'm stopping. Just today. Just this moment. And I'm looking at me, plus pimples, fungus, and sexuality, and making a stab at building the baby that was.
Whoa.